That is preeminent over all the mitzvot, in my view, particularly when we come to Shabbat services at a congregation like our congregation, and that is Haknasat Orchin, to make any visitor who's with us tonight feel extremely, preeminently welcome. That is a mitzvah. And there's only really one way to do that, is to reach out and welcome our visitors and welcome our members as well, of course. And if you can do one thing today, at the end of the service, if you can greet, not now, when the service is over, if you can greet one person you do not know and make that person feel welcome and make a new friend, that's going to be a great mitzvah. If we do nothing else, we've accomplished a great deal. Today we're going to be talking from the heart about a very tragic, sad, overwhelming experience. I'm sure virtually every synagogue in the world will be having a similar, or has had a similar discussion. We cannot avoid a topic just because it brings us pain. And we're going to do that. But later on, we're going to hear from one of our young people, this congregation, about a different topic, a very important one, and that'll be later on in the service. And then we'll have our regular Shabbat services, prayers, tefillot, and of course, culminating, as we always do, to honor the memory of loved ones. One of whom is, you'll hear, died recently, over the last 30 days, and a group of people, about a dozen, who are being honored because it's their yahrzeit, or Maldato in Sephardic Hebrew, in the tradition, the anniversary of death. And the people here who have come for that purpose also need to have our deep empathy. So although it's not the easiest thing to do, we have Liz back there trying to project our service beyond the walls to a large group of people who are out there on the internet, but they are still part of the minyan. So, I'm going to ask you to do something. Take some time. Each person stand, say your name. If you are a visitor, you might say where you come from, but that's not so important. So I'm starting with this person right here. Stand up. Name and any information you want to say.
My name is Cameron Stillian, and quite a while.
Glad that you're here. Happy to see you.
Hi, I'm Georgia. My cousin Cameron.
your name? Nice. Yeah, I remember that. Sure. All right. Say your name. Nice. Castro Valley. Well, welcome. Thank you for come out here.
I got a release on that. I've been coming for about 60 years, and I'm a big fan of the way that works.
Nice. Recently returned from Minnesota to come back here. Great. In the back. So happy to see you. Thanks for being here. Love seeing you. Now we go to the front row here. Stand up one at a time. Go ahead, beautiful wife. Stand and say. All right, we're glad you're here. Good, you're a good person. So happy you're here. Sweet. Well, they're great. You got a wonderful family, and God bless them. Harriet, all right, you don't stand up. You stand up, Harriet. Yeah. Hi. So happy you're here.
I'm sure it's
Shabbat shalom. You're a sweetheart. Oh, since you're a little girl. Happy you're here. There you go.
My name is Jerry Jones, and I have been here
Good deal. Go ahead, dear. And you're always welcome. You've had many, many times here. I know the two people behind you actually are visitors because they introduced themselves to me. So go ahead, don't be shy. Nice. All right, Kai. Glad you're here. Good for you. Amen. Go ahead.
I'm Joe Persson, I've been here 3 years. I want to welcome all the visitors.
Great. And don't forget, after service, say hello, at least you want to make a new friend. Go ahead. Oh, my goodness. Janelle, what a great lady she is. Go ahead. I saw him at the symphony recently. back there too. Great, Arnie. Go ahead, dear friend. All right. Now let's go back to Lucy because she'll be our speaker. But stand up and introduce yourself. Happy you're here, of course. Nice. She's mom. So it's a very important role. Mom of Lucy. Go ahead. So happy you're here. Did someone new just walk in? Say it again. I know you, yeah. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Anybody else walking over there? Ladies? So happy to see you. All right, let's go to this group over here. This is June. I don't know if you want to stand up, June, but you don't have to. June Chows. We love June Chows. Oh, yeah. Good to have her back. Say your name. Oh, my goodness. Well, that was a while back. Not that long, actually. Go ahead. Well, we're happy you're here. Well, that's an important role. All right. All right. Oh, my goodness. Going back. And how many years have you been married now, Jeffrey? All right. Go ahead, friend.
I'm Mike Lynette. I can't believe I'm in one sentence on many things, and I'm fortunate to be here. Thank you.
Right. Mike, great to see you. I'll go back there. Amen. Go ahead. Nice.
Josh Crispin, and I can't speak without at least 100 voice. We've been members since around 2007, but the first time I met Brother Wells when I took the top.
Oh, my goodness. We're happy you're here. Very loyal. And back there? Great. You're doing a heck of a job back there. Well, my friends, I'm going to ask Deborah to come up here. And let's turn to page number 2. 2 in the prayer book. She's going to light the candles. But before we do, I want to say a little prayer. Before we do, this is a special prayer that was written by rabbis in Baltimore about the situation we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So stay with me, right? Our God, the one who raised Joseph from the pit, be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in time of trouble. Send complete rescue and full redemption to those held captive by the enemy. Strengthen their spirit and bring them our prayers that they be protected from all harm. Implant understanding in the heart of the enemy that they may return the captives in wholeness of body and spirit. Grant wisdom to the Israel Defense Forces that they may secure freedom for the captives without loss of life. Grant strength and spirit of courage of heart to all the sons and daughters of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar to release the bonds of captivity and to allow us to live, all of us, in freedom. They shall call upon me, and I will answer them. I will be with them in distress. I will rescue them and honor them. And let us say, Amen. Now light those candles for us, please. Again, page number 2. And as you light the candle, you use that little candle, that little candle like the other candle. Leave that one lit too, right there. Put it there, put it back. There you go. Let's say the blessing, and I'll talk about this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And in English we say, Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Thank you, Deborah. So, my friends, I will speak briefly and maybe entertain a question or two, maybe not, we'll see. I don't have to tell you that this past week has been, if not the most difficult, most tragic, saddest, overwhelming week in the history of our Jewish community throughout the world. It has been a devastating time. But I want to say something at the beginning, and I'll repeat it at the end. It is understandable that we are sad, and it's understandable that we are angry. But what we must not do, we must not give in to despair. We are a people of hope. And in the midst of all the tragedy, all the murder, all the captivity, all the pain, the wounded, we cannot despair. I don't have to tell you, but I'm sure that many of you were either here at Temple B'nai Torah a week ago or at another synagogue, either in this community or throughout the world. And while we were celebrating Shabbat, but not only Shabbat, but a holy day of Shemini Atzeret, and for us Reform Jews in Israel as well, Simchat Torah, a day of unbridled joy. At the exact same time, 1 week ago, at this time, and we here were unaware. At that same time, over 1,000 innocent people in Israel. I say people, most of them were Jews, but not all. Most of them were Israelis, but not all, were brutally murdered by terrorists. Not only were over 1,000 murdered during that same time we're worshiping here, but thousands more were wounded. And as we found out the next morning of subsequent hours, that over 100 people, many of them, all of them innocent, but some of them children, young children, people of elderly people, Holocaust survivors, were also taken captive. Now I'm saying this because not because you don't know about it, but because it's important to say it and to recognize it, that we're living what subsequently has been said to have been, since the Holocaust, the most devastating and deadly day in modern Jewish history. And now we're living with consequences of that terrible, terrible day, which we will be living with for not for days, not for weeks, not for months, but for years. Look at some of our members here who have spent considerable time in Israel, have lived in Israel. Many of our members of this congregation have relatives who are living in Israel. Some of them are there temporarily as lone soldiers or students. Some of them live there permanently, your sister, your brother. And I'm sure that, without knowing for sure, that each one has a friend or a relative or a neighbor who was directly affected by that terrible day. But one thing that we know at Temple B'nai Torah, more than any other synagogue in the world, and certainly any more than any other synagogue in the United States of America, we already knew about that kind of pain because a dear member of our congregation, many of you knew her, Pamela Wechter, was brutally murdered in 2006. The first American Jew to be killed by a terrorist, was right here in our community, from our own synagogue. And subsequently, here in America, but more poignantly and more drastically and number-wise much more, Jews in Israel have faced that over the 75 years and before. It's nothing new. The degree was perhaps more, but as we always say, even going back to 9/11, not 1,500 people who were murdered. It's one person at a time, times 1,500, each one. And we don't say it's just a large number. Each person had a face, whether it was a baby, whether it was an infant, whether it was a toddler, whether it was a teenager at the festival, whether it was a soldier, man, woman, child, non-binary, whoever it was, you have to remember that one person. And that one person has a circle. And that one person has a circle that includes 15 million Jews. That's a family. And then I would say that person also has 8 billion fellow human beings. I do not know, and nobody knows, including the leaders of Israel, including President Biden, including any other diplomats, Tony Blinken, or anyone else. No one knows what tomorrow is going to bring. They may have plans, but they don't know. Because our plans and our enemies have plans too. We don't know. Let's look at the positives. It brought us together in a way that we never have really been together for a long time. We came together on Wednesday night at Temple to Her Sinai in Seattle, 1,000 people. You multiply that by 1,000 in all the communities. And our lieutenant governor was there. Our senator was there. And just people like you and me. There was a person who was there who just came from Israel to serve as a shlichah. She was there. She spoke beautifully. So it brought us together. Let me give you an example. In our state capital, Governor Inslee directed that the Israeli flag would fly this week over the state capital. It's symbolic. It's not going to bring anybody back. It's not going to bring the captives back. But it's symbolic. It says a lot. You go downtown tonight, T-Mobile Park is illuminated in blue and white. So we have a lot of friends in this world. But our Congress, well, we have 10 Congress people in the state of Washington. Pramila wasn't there. She was not there. She was not there. She wasn't. But I don't know if she was not invited or she did not come. But we had the Senator Cantwell and a representative of Senator Murray. So you can look at negatives. Let's look at the positives. There's always negatives, but let's look at the positives. We have a lot of support, but we have a lot of healing that we have to do. Now, the challenge for Temple B'nai Torah is to do, as we've done before, the tent city. Tonight we'll hear about reproductive rights. There are a lot of issues, but today, now, we have to come up with something significant that we can do as a community to, in a tangible way, to help our brothers and sisters in Israel. I don't know what that's going to be, but I know it's going to be up to you, not the rabbis, you as the congregation, to decide what it's going to be. Might be collecting money. Tonight we'll be writing letters. Lucy will help us write some letters about a very important issue, reproductive rights. We will do that tonight. But on that, over the next several weeks and months, we have to do something significant to support Israel. Having said that, I will stay here afterwards, and Lucy will be helping you write letters. But I'll be here today to talk about the situation. Not so much the facts. The names are important, very important. The people are important. But no, it's more important how you're feeling, how you are feeling. That's, for us, the most important thing. Because you might be very, very sad. You might be depressed, as we are. I am. But please, 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 do not give in to despair. That we cannot have. Always maintain the hope, ha-tikvah. And with that, we'll continue with our service. In a few minutes, we'll have a shorter service tonight, as you can imagine. But we'll have Lucy up here in a little while. She'll be telling us some really important things. And we're going to listen really carefully. How about singing Shabbat Shalom? Because you want to reach, and if you want to sing it to your friends and your neighbors, people on our little remote thing, they sing along too. Bim, bam, bim, bim. Come on, louder. Bim, 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 bim. Bim. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Now, I'm expecting you to sing a little bit louder. I'm really expecting that because we want that to happen. We'll do the Kiddush at the end of the service or sometime, but now we have another chance to sing, and that's going to be welcoming the Shabbat bride to our community. We do that every Shabbat. This goes back, not to time immemorial. If you can read on page 20, it goes back about 500 years ago. The poem was written, but ever since it's been a staple of our Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat. So we're going to do L'chadodi. Today we'll just do the chorus, the first verse, then the chorus, and then we'll do the 9th verse, go right to the 9th verse. We'll rise, we'll look through the door. We can imagine the Shabbat bride coming here, then remain standing. I'll go right into the Baruch Hu afterwards, so we're going to go right through the service a little quickly tonight, and that'll be on page 28. So after you remain standing. On page 20 and 21, please sing loud. Lecha dodi lekrat B'nei Shabbat nekabla Lecha dodi rakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabel. First verse. Shahamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmi'anu el hamuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'l'tiferet l'tila Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Ninth verse, rise if you are able, face the door. Boi v'shalom ma'ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'b'tzahala Tov emunei am segula Boi kala Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi lekrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Remain standing and turn to the Baruch Hu, which is on page number 27, 28 as I said, 28. Yai dai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai dai dai, yai dai yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai. Baruch Hu. Adonai, Hamivorach, Hamivorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamivorach, Leolam, Leolam. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due, now and forever. Let's be seated now. I think we'll be seated. That's fine. Let's read together in English. Let's read together in the middle of page 29 in English, in unison if you wish. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps us from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. All right, moving along tonight a little bit. Shalom, those who come late, welcome. Have your prayer book, I hope. Page number 34. Page 34. Since my days as a rabbi here, we've decided we're going to be sitting for the Shema. But if you feel uncomfortable sitting for the Shema and you must rise, you can rise. It's up to you. Page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, le'olam va'ed. That sounded good. We're saying, Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Continuing on page 36, we chant the continuation of the Shema. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'elem asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvletecha v'aderech u'shachbecha v'kumecha u'kshartam leot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'katavtam amezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. Now we're going to read in English on page 37. So not too fast. We want you to really focus on the meaning of the words. Let's read on page 37. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They're reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. I said we'd kind of move along a little bit quickly today. So let's go to the tefillah. On page number 46, 48, 50, and 52, with the reminder that now we have celebrated the Shemini Atzeret Simchat Torah. We get to the part about talking about what we want our natural world to look like during the winter time. We say these words on page number 50, Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem, which means cause the wind to shift and the rain to fall. And that's a good prayer. We've had a pretty dry summer. We need some more rain and snow. That's a good thing. Let us rise on page 46 and chant the tefillah together. Please sing as loud as you want to. Help me out. Adonai sifatai tifta ufiyai tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Haseh V'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Turn the page. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב והושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מחלחל חיים בחסד, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. So make no flim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Mi kamocha bal gevurot, umido mehalach, melech me'id umechaye, umatzliach Yeshua, v'nemanata lehayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Next page. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Remain standing and continue the tefillah silently by yourself through the end of page 62 at your own pace, or just offer your own personal prayers as you wish. Sit whenever you want to. We're going to add two prayers now before we invite Lucy to speak. At the end of the tefillah, we always have a prayer for healing, which is a beautiful prayer. And today, more than ever, the healing of the people who were wounded and the captives were definitely in our hearts. We also have our own friends and relatives on a list of people, our healing list, and then an opportunity for those who are visiting or even members of the congregation who don't have their name on the list. Go around and say names, if you wish, aloud, silently if you prefer, of people in need of healing, of any kind of healing. Physical healing, truly. Emotional healing, definitely. Spiritual healing, no doubt. So, I'm not going to say the connection they have, but the people that we mentioned today here on our healing list: Osriel Early, Rohan Early, Amy Thornton, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Jacqueline Tara Smith, Deborah Rose, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Carlene Ackerman, Vadim Barzam, Jill Forleo, Ellen Gottlieb, Vanessa Bianco, John Lang, Paul McGrady, Janelle Cohn, Glenn Letts, Jesse Early, Andrea Gurvich, Carl Wilhite, Ginny Gaston, Cindy Balin, Janine Drebin, Joe Dover, Patty Newby, Adrian Hilander, Barbara Laird, Marion Laird, Mark Cohn, Jay Charters, Michelle Arrigo, Frank Allen Combs, Joni Michaels, Nance Ruiz, Phil Geyser. I've said those names, they're on our list. If you want to add anybody to the list so that we have it here, just call the office during the week. The names will be added to the list. And if someone has recovered, you want to take them off the list, that's also okay. I'm going to go around, and I'm not going to look at each individual person. Go slowly. If you want to say the name of someone in need of healing, just do so. And again, if you want to do it silently, that's fine. Names of people who are in need of healing. Let's just read the prayer in page 253. We'll just read it tonight. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. We'll do it in English, the top of page 253. Together. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored, for strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen. And now, in the turning the page a little bit, we're going to the page. We have the page where the prayers for the state of Israel, very appropriate for this day, on page 259. Shalu Shalom Yerushalayim, pray for the peace of Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper, and may they be healed. And let's read the bottom of the page together, 259. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. Thank you. That prayer resounds not only here in our congregation, in our community, in our city, our state, our country, and throughout the world. Millions of prayers are being said along with the one that we just offered. Thank you so much. Today I want to let you know that Lucy Berginski, she is a great member of this community. She's a senior in high school, but she's already accomplished many things. First of all, she does serve as a president of our great B'nai Torah youth, our wonderful youth group. She is the social action chairperson of our regional nifty Westy Youth Group organization for the whole region. And she served in Washington, D.C. as a fellow at the Religious Action Center, our justice arm of Reform Judaism, the largest and most effective lobby of any religious organization in our country, the Religious Action Center. And today she's going to tell us why we, as a community, as a congregation, as individuals, should be concerned about reproductive rights. not only just for women, but for all of us. So Lucy, thank you so much for being here. Come on up, share from your heart. The only thing I would ask you to do is speak as loudly as you can, because we all want to hear what you have to say.
Shabbat Shalom. So, as you said, thank you. This Shabbat, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to talk about a very cool project that I'm working on. So last spring, I participated in a racial justice fellowship through the Religious Action Center, which taught me all about intersectionality, how racism permeates throughout all of our societal systems, and how to organize and lead a group through change. As part of my fellowship, I was challenged to create a project for our community to participate in. I decided to focus on reproductive justice by organizing a letter writing campaign to voters in Virginia, urging them to vote to protect abortion access. You are all invited to join me in the Oneg Hall after the service to help write letters. I wanted to share a little bit about the intersectionality of abortion access and racial justice. But first, what is intersectionality? Intersectionality is the overlap between different aspects of one's identity and how they create either privilege or disadvantages. For example, one source of intersectionality for me is my race and socioeconomic status. Being white and upper middle class is a source of privilege for me. Another example, which I based my project on, is the intersection between a person's race and their access to reproductive health care. There are tons of ways that race, socioeconomic status, gender, age, or any other aspect of one's identity can intersect with healthcare, making it more or less accessible. This is especially true of reproductive health care. Reproductive care is more than just abortions. It includes comprehensive sex education, access to contraception, and quality maternity care. It affects every human at some point in our lives, and yet many states and school districts do not offer all of these rights to its constituents. For Black women, the intersectionality of race and socioeconomic status puts them at a higher disadvantage, and they're less likely to receive safe, quality reproductive health care. Black women often have more barriers to their access to contraception compared to people of other races. There are lower rates of birth control used in Black communities as a result of poor access and lack of communication, especially in the southern part of the US. 55% of schools in the South have abstinence-only sex education, which means those students do not have as thorough of an education around contraceptives and birth control methods if they do not stay abstinent. Thus, Black women are at a higher risk of unplanned pregnancies. Abortion care is an option that many of these women do not have. Since Roe v. Wade, a case that has protected the rights to abortions, was overturned in 2022, abortion procedures have been outlawed in many states, most of which are in the southern region of the US. State legislatures have repeatedly chipped away at abortion access, passing over 1,300 restrictions requiring mandated counseling, waiting periods, parental involvement, gestational limits, targeted regulation of abortion providers, and the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits federal health insurance coverage of abortion services. Currently, abortion is still legal in Virginia, but with many restrictions. As of January 2023, abortion is banned in 12 states, and at least 66 clinics across 15 states have stopped providing abortion care. 29% of the US's female population of reproductive age are living in states where abortions are either unavailable or severely restricted. As I mentioned, many of these states also have high populations of marginalized communities, including Black women and other people of color. There is a disproportionate amount of Black people who can't get legal or safe abortions because of where they live. Now, I would like to connect this back to Judaism. Judaism values the living parent's life over that of the fetus. Banning potential life-saving medical procedures or valuing an unborn fetus over a living parent's life runs contrary to the Jewish commandment to protect life. Jewish texts view the life of the pregnant individual at a higher value and emphasize the importance of an existing life over a potential one. Additionally, Judaism says life begins when the child can breathe without the support of the mother, disregarding a fetus as a living life because it isn't one. The current bans on abortion are backed by the argument that life begins in the womb, which does not align with the Jewish understanding of when life begins. Part of our responsibility as Jews is to work to uphold access to reproductive health care, especially for those who face more barriers in states with restrictive laws. Virginia currently allows abortion through the second trimester. The governor of the state tried to restrict abortion care, but the Senate blocked his attempts. Voters in Virginia will have an impact on their state's access to abortion care. In November, every seat in that state's legislature will be available, and reproductive health will be the #1 topic in determining how people vote. It is crucial to keep our bodily autonomy free in this country. If we don't, is it not in direct defiance of what this country is based on? Can we really be free if we don't even have the ability to allow people to choose what to do with their bodies? Reproductive health care is just like any other health care, which is to say it is necessary and it has the power to save lives. Not only can you join me tonight in my letter writing campaign, but you can also help Sisterhood assemble abortion care kits on November 19th from 1 to 3 p.m. The fight for reproductive rights is a crucial one, and you have the power to back it. Thank you.
Lucy, we're really proud of you, all of us. You really have made a great effort to educate us and to lead us in the right path. You quoted the Jewish text beautifully as well. And as you know, this young person will be graduating high school soon, will be off on a great adventure. Now, over the years, we've had 12 people from our congregation become rabbis. You know that? That might be a good one. No pressure. But on a very serious note, it's great to listen to a wonderful speaker with passion, but she is challenging us. It's not going to take an hour to do it. After the service, she'll give us the instructions, she'll give us the paper, the pencil, she'll give us the directions, and if you can write a few letters, you heard it's important. And this is true, that every state has to make its own rules and laws around reproductive rights. So whether it's the state of Washington, which we're doing pretty well, or the state of Virginia, we're all part of the gestalt. We have to do it. So before we go on to our concluding part of our service, we have our friends who came all the way from Beit Aleph, and that's our wonderful congregation. It's meditation. The focus is on meditation. So let's try to get into the spirit of what they brought to us. And let's just take a moment to reflect and meditate. Perhaps close your eyes for a few minutes. Open up your hearts and your soul and feel the healing power of the Shekinah, of divine presence, and find a place within yourself to find your own peace and your own tranquility in your own way as we spend a few moments in silent and peaceful reflection and meditation. May the words of our mouths, but also the meditations of our hearts, find acceptance and blessing through the rock, the Holy One, the Blessed One. Amen. Now we get to the very important part of our service when we honor and remember our loved ones. Eventually we'll get to the Kaddish, but first we do the Aleinu. The Aleinu version that we do is on page 283 in the top of the page. Let's rise before the open ark and chant the Aleinu. 283. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו יחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. And on page number 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא תהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Let's be seated now, friends. On page number 288 and following, we have some special prayers to lead us into the Kaddish and the remembrance time. And today, a prayer on page number 293 has particular poignance. Remember our people who have suffered and died, so that we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow. For their dreams left unfulfilled and lives taken too soon, we remember. Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be an inspiration and strength. Life cut short and vision unrealized, we remember. Remember the fallen of our armed forces and those in the state of Israel, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with our land and the land of Israel, and in love with life together. For the agony, the tears, the mothers and the fathers, for the children who were, and for the children yet to be, we remember. And so, before we say the Kaddish, I know that some of you are here today with heavy hearts, as you are each year, of the art site. But I also want to mention that on the 13th, 1 month ago, on September, the end of the Shloshim, for Lila Spiegelman, the mother-in-law, grandmother of Mark, Katja, Eli, and Tali Spiegelman. May her memory be a blessing. Now that the Shloshim is completed, she will be remembered each year on the yard site. And here are the yard sites, some taken last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, some 30 or 40 years ago. As long as we're alive, we remember. And I really appreciate those who have come today to honor the memory of the loved one. If I read the name of your loved one, you can rise at that time so we can send our love to you and support if you're a relative or a friend of the person I name. And then an opportunity for visitors to perhaps say other names or recent death or yard site. So today, Anne Bernstein's yard site, Bob Bose, Adela Brumer, Louise Cole, Robert, Bob Falk, Monroe Farber, Arlene Stubbs Gordon, Daniel Klein, and again, both of you rising for Robert, also rising for Daniel. Herbert M. Meltzer, Rose Milstein, Patty Morris, Richard Stusser, and Walter Vassen. Now, as they remain standing, anybody else who wants to rise and say a name of a loved one, this is an opportunity. Please. Haim Pachman. Amen. Thank you so much. Very poignant. Thank you for being here tonight. Anyone else rise? All of those were killed. Yes, we're all writing to them. Stay rising. All right, we're going to invite everyone who wishes to rise to do so now. If you prefer to remain seated, that's understandable. Everyone has a different tradition. Page 294. This is the Kaddish. And today is very poignant for all those who are lost at this end of the week, of the Shiva week for them. So this is very, very painful. But for all, we recite the Kaddish slowly together. 294. Yit gadal, v'yit kadash, shemei rabah, v'yalma divira chirute, v'yamlik malchute, v'chayechon, v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol be Yisrael, v'galav v'zman koriv v'imru amen, yehei shemei rabah mevarak la'olam omei amayah, yit barak v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit roman v'yit naseh, yit hadar v'yit taleh v'yit halal v'mei dekucha berichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata tamiram b'yalma v'imru amen yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May all who we remember be enshrined in our memories forever, not just today, but for the rest of our lives. May God receive them and keep them in peace forever, and let us say, Amen. My friends, I'm going to ask you to be seated just for a few more moments. 2 or 3 things more to do, but I'm going to remind you again, let's help Lucy after the service. Come to the Oneg, and she'll tell you what to do to pursue her project. Very important. Do we have a representative? Yes, a wonderful representative of our congregation. He's going to say some special words. Thank you so much.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Jennifer Marcoux, and on behalf of the TBT board, we welcome all of you. I'd also like to thank Rabbi Emeritus Mirel, as well as Lucy, for the wonderful drosh and sponsoring the Oneg letter writing this evening. So I'm here to make the announcements. I thought twice about coming today after Rabbi Nemitov's security notice. And it brought me back to the time when I was in New York during 9/11. And it was the first time that I was frightened as a Jew. I have been Jewish for 2 years and living a Jewish life for 30 years. And I have never felt fear. And similar to my experience in New York, I worked literally across from the World Trade Center. And we moved offices to the Wall Street. And when the president came, there was a security sniper right outside of my window protecting the president. And it was a scary time. You didn't know if something else was going to happen. And my fear is nowhere near what is happening in Israel. But it's just a symbolic representation of the ripple effect, the echo effect that this has for Jews across the world. And so I reflect on what I did in New York, and that was, we got to live. We are not going to give up. And that's exactly what we as Jews need to do. And I look at Rabbi Nemitov's article, if you haven't read it, it's in the newsletter from yesterday. And he talks about, in the Talmud, if a wedding and a funeral meet, the wedding has to go first, because joy always takes precedence over sorrow. And so we must focus on living. So what a sad way to introduce the announcement, but the newsletter yesterday is full of ways to connect, to support Israel, to support Judaism. And so thank you all for coming tonight to show your sponsorship, your pride, connection either as a Jew or connection to the Jewish community and those online. And there are lots of things you can do this week and the next couple weeks to show that support. So one of them, Lucy is helping support a letter writing opportunity tonight, so please stay, just write one letter. There are also a lot of other things happening this week. As Lucy mentioned, Sisterhood is collecting items for the Cedar River Abortion Clinic. And there's also a text and phone bank on October 24th to support reproductive rights. In 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, October 27th, there's a new member connect. So if you are a new member, please join us. If you're not a new member, please meet the new members. Our community is growing, so please join us. That same weekend is also the Sisterhood retreat at Camp Hausman. So it's a great way to meet other Jewish women in our temple as well as other temples across the Pacific Northwest. If you are a teen, there is a nifty event tomorrow at Beth Am, so please register. And there is a food drive on Sunday at October 15th. Again, you can register. It's with the Jewish Family Services. And for the men, they do get a little attention. There is a men's health talk on October 25th. Lots and lots of adult education, lots of opportunities in the newsletter. One, I want to point out, there's a talk on November 14th on anti-Semitism at Hirsch Sinai. And there is also a link to lots of opportunities to donate to Israel and supporting Israel. So please take a look at the newsletter. And if you need a little respite and comfort in these difficult days, please come on Sunday, October 15th, in 2 days at 4 o'clock, because the Northwest A Cappella Group is doing a special concert for us at TBT. So that will be a great way to communicate or to connect with each other. So check your email for more details, and Shabbat Shalom.
Great to see so many of our lay leaders so active, keeping this congregation going strong, and that very poignant story about your connection, 9/11. Never forget that. Well, we're going to conclude our service with the Kiddush and the Motzi, and then we'll have our Oneg. We want to thank all the people who are here, all the people who are online, who are with us, and there are probably a lot of them. I don't know how many, but thank God for them. And let us turn to page number 5. And let us rise together as able and chant the Kiddush for Holy Shabbat. Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'siyat Mizrayim Ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim to life. I'll say the Motzi together, and then we'll celebrate wonderful day. Happy. All right? wants to come up? Any kids want to come up here and help? I don't know how you find a kid. If you want to come up here, if you think of yourself as a kid, come on up. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Oh, that's a great kid. All right. You're a kid. How old are you now?
I'm 14.
14. Come on. You're a nice kid guy. Let's sing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Jacob. Why don't you stand over there at the door, Jacob? And as people leave, they can take some from you. Stand right at the door. That door right over there. Adonai Elzeh Amel Yitin Adonai Yivarech Et Amova Shalom. May God give strength to our people. May God bless our people and all people with shalom, now and forevermore. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Follow the Jacob, take the call, and have a good oneg.